Shlomo Zalman Bregman, the Jewish Executive Learning Network, and today's short and sweet clip, I'd like to share with you an answer to a question that recently occurred to me, which I think can hopefully open up for you some new vistas in your own shidduch life, in your own dating life, and that of other people you know in relationships in general. So here we go. There's a famous chazal, a famous statement of our sages that says what? Our sages tell us, it's a Talmud, etc., says that for Hashem, the making of shidduchim, the matching of people with pairs and pairing them off, it's difficult like the Kriyas Yamsuf, the splitting of the Red Sea. What does that mean? Something's difficult for Hashem. Nothing could be difficult for Hashem. Splitting the Red Sea hard. I mean, if you can make the world, He can't split one of His creation. What does that even mean? Or what does that have to do with marriage? So there's Torah with more Torah, with commentaries on this. You can't go to a Sheva Brachas, a wedding, something without hearing Torah about this. Let me tell you, a Naya Deher, as we say in Yiddish, a new insight, a new way of hearing this question out. I think that'll hopefully be helpful to you as a dater. Here we go. I want to ask one question, a different one you don't always hear. Why is it called Kriyas Yamsuf? Kriya means in Torah, in Lashon HaKodesh, in the Holy Tongue, it means tearing. Kriyas Yamsuf doesn't mean literally the splitting of the Red Sea. It doesn't say that. It says the tearing of the Red Sea. We tore the Red Sea. Hashem tore the Red Sea. What does that mean? Kriya? Tearing? That's a good question, right? Tearing? And what does tearing have to do with getting married? I think I'm getting married. I think I'm gluing together, coming together. Something like that. Making something together. I wouldn't think marriage is tearing or tearing of the Red Sea. Marriage. Doesn't sound very exciting. A new couple getting together and it's tearing? It's a good question, if I say so myself. But I know it's a good question. I'll give you even a little bit more. If you look in the Chumash, and I bring this in the short and sweet on the Parsha, which is about to become available internationally. If you'd like to order a copy, get in touch with me. I talk about this following piece in there as well. And that is, if you look in the Chumash, when there's a bris, a covenant being made, Hashem talks about kairos es habris. That the forming of a bris, the creating of a covenant is kairos es habris. What's kairos es habris? Doesn't mean to make a covenant. Kairos es habris means literally to tear, kriya, tear a covenant. I don't get it. If you're of a bris, a covenant, it should be a word of davak, of gluing, of coming together. Ose a bris, make a bris, glue a bris, right? My camera person knows Hebrew. He's a Torah guy. Yes or no? It's interesting. I'm going to make a bris. I'm going to rip apart. Making a covenant that's a gluing together of two entities. Well, what's even going on here? So I'll tell you the bottom line the bottom line point, and that is as follows. You cannot make a new entity unless it first is predicated with a cutting away of one's self. Okay? Emotionally, or in other forms, one has to make oneself vulnerable in order to be able to form a new entity. Let's say two business partners are getting together. Ruvain and Shimon want to get together and make a new business. They have to do a little kriya, a little tearing away, a little peeling away of who they are, a little vulnerability in order to make it happen. Why? Because what'll happen? Hey, we're both sharing the money. You know, we're both sharing the books. You have access to the checkbook. I have access to the funds. You can maybe make a decision that could cost me money. There's a certain vulnerability that happens, that has to happen in order to be a new entity to be able to come together. That always happens, whether in love, in relationships, Klal Yisrael, even when the Jewish people make a bris with Hashem, and I can't get into it now, I discussed it at length and short and sweet on the Parsha, in the book, but there's always, Hashem made Himself vulnerable, we say kaviyachal, allegorically speaking, to the Jewish people, because we could take advantage of Him. And a lot of us cannot keep the Torah, and He can't get rid of us. He's stuck with the Jewish people forever. He said He'll never replace us, you know. He became vulnerable. We became open to certain punishments, a certain vulnerability that we didn't have before we accepted the Torah. So every bris is kairos es habris. There has to be a cutting away and a making oneself vulnerable in order to happen. So what does it have to do with shidduchim? I find, as a person, along with my wife, who was able to mentor a ton of people in shidduchim, one of the biggest challenges people have is making themselves emotionally available, making yourself vulnerable. If you are not willing to open yourself up to the person sitting across from you in a date, in a shidduch circumstance, they're never going to be able to feel like a bond and a connection with you. Now, How do you do it? How much do you share? When do you share? What's appropriate to share and with whom? There's Torah. With Torah and a lot of Torah, you need a mentor, an advisor. Well, it doesn't have to be me, but somebody responsible rabbinic management who can advise you when and so on and so forth. And if you're having difficulty becoming vulnerable, emotionally open to the people sitting across from you, that's also a problem as well. It's also a challenge. You have to understand why. Is it that you have low self-esteem? Is it that it's self-confidence? Is you emotionally closed? Have you been burnt before? We have to address each and every one of these possibilities, because if you can't become open to some degree, I mean, I don't mean you have to spill your whole life and everything you ever did wrong to the person the day you meet them, but you can't basically do some cutting away and bearing your soul and who you are, it'll never be possible to form a relationship with someone else. And that's why I believe it's one of the reasons why when Hashem, in the Gemara, it talks about Hashem bringing matches and pairs together, it's Kriyas Yamsuf, the tearing of the Red Sea is Shidduchim. Shidduchim is the tearing of the Red Sea. Why? Because there has to be a kriya, has to be a cutting away and a making oneself emotionally available and vulnerable, becoming open in order to form a new entity with somebody else and getting to the chuppah. I hope you found that interesting. Been thinking about it, working on it a while. A lot of different proofs I didn't even bring out, but I think it's on the money Torah. Hope you enjoyed today's clip. This is Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Bregman, the Jewish Executive Learning Network. If you think I could be of any benefit to you in Shidduchim or any other capacity, please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'd like to send me your Shidduch resume, feel free to do so. My email is director@jeln.org. I'd be happy to help you if I can. I get up to a few hundred inquiries a month, but I help anyone I can as much as I can. Thank you so much. We'll see you the next time.